Now, all too often, when we think of lost civilizations like the Maya, we think of them as very different.
The Maya have what's widely understood as the most sophisticated ancient calendar ever made.
The Mayan calendar was hyped as a doomsday clock ticking toward humanity's final moment. People panicked, movies cashed in, and then nothing happened. Or did it? Fast forward over a decade, and artificial intelligence has just reinterpreted the Mayan calendar, and the results are jaw-dropping. What if the prophecy wasn't about destruction, but transformation? The Maya calendar decoded. Deep in the jungles of Central America, Maya astronomers spent generations watching the skies. They didn't have telescopes or computers, just careful observation and brilliant mathematical minds. And what they created was extraordinary. Instead of our simple 12-month year, the Maya ran several calendars simultaneously, like gears turning within gears. They had the Tzolkin, a 260-day sacred calendar used for religious ceremonies and personal horoscopes. Working alongside it was the Harb, their 365-day solar year for tracking seasons and agriculture. Together, these formed what's called the calendar round, a system that would take 52 years before a date would repeat, kind of like how we might say Wednesday, June 4th, 2025, knowing that specific day-date-month-year combination won't come again for a very long time. But even this 52-year cycle wasn't enough for Maya timekeepers. They needed something bigger, something that could track history across millennia. That's where the long count comes in, a calendar that functions almost like a cosmic odometer, measuring vast expanses of time. The long count works by tracking days in ever larger units. A kin is 1 day, 20 kins make a weanal, like our months. 18 weanals make a tun, about a year. 20 tons make a cartoon, around 20 years. And 20 cartoons make a baktun, approximately 394 years, or roughly the time between Columbus arriving in the Americas and the moon landing. This is where 2012 enters the story. According to Maya timekeeping, December 21st, 2012 marked the completion of the 13th baktun since their calendar's starting point in 3114 BCE. That's a cycle of about 5,125 years, an almost unimaginably vast time span for any civilization to track. What makes this so impressive is that the Maya weren't just recording the passage of time, they were connecting it to astronomical events. Their calculations of Venus's orbit, solar eclipses, and lunar cycles were so precise they would impress NASA engineers today. The Dresden Codex, one of the few Maya books to survive Spanish colonization, contains eclipse tables that modern astronomers have confirmed as astonishingly accurate. For the Maya, these celestial patterns were like the heartbeat of the universe. Time wasn't just ticking forward, it was moving in grand, repeating cycles of destruction and rebirth. The end of each cycle wasn't the end of everything, but a transition to something new. How a calendar became doomsday. So how did a sophisticated calendar system turn into 2012's apocalypse mania? The answer lies in a perfect storm of misinterpretation, cultural fascination with end times, and Hollywood marketing. It started in the 1960s and 70s when scholars were making breakthrough discoveries decoding Maya hieroglyphs. Among the thousands of Maya inscriptions being studied was a damaged stone tablet from Tortuguero, Mexico, known as Monument 6. Dating from around the 7th century CE, this partially broken inscription contained something extraordinary, a reference to the end date of the 13th baktun, what would become our December 21st, 2012. The damaged state of the tablet made complete translation difficult, but scholars could make out text suggesting that on this date, the deity Bolon Yokte Ku would descend or make some kind of appearance. The rest of the context was lost to erosion and damage. This tiny fragment, literally the only ancient Maya mention of the 2012 date that had been discovered at the time, was about to snowball into a global phenomenon. In the 1970s and 80s, as counterculture movements embraced spiritual ideas from around the world, the Maya calendar became mixed with New Age concepts. Writers with little archaeological background began spinning elaborate theories connecting the Maya to everything from aliens to Atlantis. The mysterious end date of 2012 became a blank canvas for speculation. The real turning point came in the 1990s, when author José Argüelles published The Mayan Factor, suggesting the long count tracked cosmic consciousness and that 2012 would mark humanity's transition to a new awareness. Other writers followed, each adding their own apocalyptic spin. Books with titles like The Maya Prophecy 2012 and The Mystery of 2012 began appearing in bookstores. By the early 2000s, internet forums were buzzing with 2012 theories. The History Channel aired specials suggesting planetary alignments would cause catastrophic events. Hollywood seized the moment with the disaster film 2012, featuring earth-shattering earthquakes and tsunami-submerged mountains. Meanwhile, actual Maya scholars were pulling their hair out. They kept trying to explain that the calendar didn't end in 2012. It simply rolled over to the next cycle, like our calendar turning from December 31st to January 1st. The Maya never predicted worldwide destruction. In fact, period endings were times of celebration and renewal for them, not fear. But the apocalypse narrative was just too appealing to our disaster-hungry media landscape. Why let archaeological facts get in the way of a good doomsday story? What the ancient Maya actually believed. The irony of the 2012 panic is that the ancient Maya would have been completely baffled by our interpretation. For them, the completion of the 13th Baktun was significant, certainly, but not as an end. It was a transition, a celestial page turning to begin a new chapter of existence. Maya civilization didn't think of time as a straight line with a beginning and an end, but as an endless cycle of creation and renewal. They believed the universe had been created and destroyed multiple times before our current world. Each iteration taught cosmic lessons and refined existence. Much like how we celebrate New Year's Eve when the calendar rolls over, the Maya commemorated these grand cycle completions with ceremonies, monuments, and rituals. These were times of reflection and anticipation, not terror. The stone tablet from Tortuguero that mentioned 2012 wasn't a warning of doom. To understand what it really meant, we need to consider who carved it and why. The monument was commissioned by a Maya ruler named Bahlam Ajao around 669 CE, over 1,300 years before the date it referenced. This king wasn't trying to warn future generations about the end of time. He was linking his reign to cosmic events, boosting his own political importance by connecting himself to a significant future date. It would be like a modern president saying their policies would be remembered until the year 3400. They're not predicting anything about the year 3400. They're using the distant future to emphasize their legacy. When the Tortuguero tablet mentions that a god will descend, it's using language similar to other Maya inscriptions, describing ritual reenactments. Maya kings often portrayed deities during ceremonies, becoming gods through elaborate costumes and performances. The damaged text was likely describing a future commemoration ceremony, not a world-ending cataclysm. Another important discovery came just months before the 2012 date. Archaeologists working at the ruins of Zultun in Guatemala uncovered a small room where Maya astronomers had painted calendrical calculations on the wall. Among these calculations were dates projecting hundreds of years beyond 2012. This was concrete proof that the Maya never intended their calendar to stop in 2012. They were planning for many Baktuns to follow. In the words of Maya scholar Dr. David Stewart, claiming the Maya predicted the end of the world in 2012 would be like saying our calendar predicts the world will end this December 31st just because we need to put up a new calendar on January 1st. The calendar conspiracy. Even after December 21st, 2012 came and went without incident, the myths refused to die. In fact, they mutated in fascinating ways. In 2020, a year already filled with pandemic anxiety, a bizarre theory went viral on Twitter, claiming the Maya calendar had actually been misinterpreted due to a conversion error between the Julian and Gregorian calendars. According to this recycled doomsday theory, the real end date was actually June 21st, 2020. Once again, people prepared for the worst. Once again, nothing happened. The persistence of these theories speaks to something deeper in human psychology, our simultaneous fear of and fascination with apocalyptic scenarios. We seem to crave these end-time narratives, perhaps because they offer a sense of climax and resolution to the messy, ongoing story of human existence. But the archaeological facts remain stubborn. The original conversion between the Maya long count and our Gregorian calendar, known as the GMT correlation, has been verified through multiple lines of evidence: astronomical records, carbon dating, and colonial period documents that bridge the gap between Maya timekeeping and European calendars. There was no miscalculation. Another persistent myth is that Maya wisdom was somehow lost or suppressed. While the Spanish conquest did destroy many Maya codices, bark paper books containing centuries of knowledge, Maya culture never actually disappeared. Over 7 million Maya people still live in Mexico and Central America today, speaking Maya languages and maintaining cultural tradition. Modern Maya communities have their own takes on the 2012 phenomenon. Many Maya spiritual leaders have expressed frustration at how their calendar was misrepresented. As one Maya elder from Guatemala put it, their ancestors viewed the completion of a great cycle as a time of transformation and spiritual renewal, not catastrophe. For many contemporary Maya, 2012 was an opportunity to reflect on their cultural heritage and resilience through centuries of hardship. Perhaps the biggest misconception is that the long count was the only or most important Maya calendar. In reality, the 260-day Tzolk'in continues to be used in many Maya communities today for divination, naming ceremonies, and agricultural planning, a living calendar that has operated continuously for more than 2 millennia. The real tragedy of the 2012 phenomenon is that it distracted from the genuine achievements of Maya civilization, their advanced mathematics, intricate writing system, sophisticated architecture, and profound philosophical concepts. By focusing on apocalyptic fantasies, we missed an opportunity to appreciate one of humanity's most remarkable cultural legacies on its own terms. AI joins the archaeological quest. While the world was busy preparing for a non-existent apocalypse, something truly revolutionary was happening in the field of artificial intelligence. And ironically, it was happening right around 2012, the very year that supposedly marked the end of the Maya calendar. In late 2012, a breakthrough called deep learning transformed the AI landscape. At a major computer vision competition, a neural network shattered previous records for image recognition accuracy. This wasn't just an incremental improvement, it was a quantum leap. The winning program could identify objects in images with unprecedented precision, learning from data in ways that mimicked human visual processing. This watershed moment launched what we now call the modern AI revolution. Within a few years, advances in machine learning would accelerate exponentially. By 2016, AI systems were beating human champions at the ancient game of Go, something experts had predicted was decades away. By 2020, language models were writing coherent text almost indistinguishable from human writing, and by 2023, AI image generators were creating stunning artwork from simple text descriptions. Here's where our story takes a fascinating turn. While AI was evolving at breakneck speed, a small community of researchers realized these powerful new tools could be applied to one of archaeology's most challenging puzzles: the complete decipherment of Maya hieroglyphs. Despite almost 200 years of scholarly effort, around 15 to 20% of Maya glyphs remain undeciphered. Some signs appear rarely in the surviving texts. Others are damaged or eroded. The complex language system, combining logograms, word signs, and syllabic elements, presents enormous challenges even to specialists who've spent decades studying it. Enter artificial intelligence. Machine learning excels at exactly the kind of pattern recognition that decipherment requires. An AI system can be trained on thousands of examples of known Maya glyphs, learning their shapes, variants, and meanings. It can then apply this knowledge to analyze undeciphered or damaged texts, suggesting possible readings based on context and visual similarities. Projects like Google's Ancient Maya Hieroglyphs, the Maya Decipherment Database, and collaborative efforts between universities and tech companies have begun digitizing and analyzing the entire corpus of Maya inscriptions. High-resolution 3D scans of monuments, combined with computational photography techniques that enhance faded pigments, are revealing previously invisible detail. When these enhanced images are fed into machine learning systems, the results are remarkable. AI can now identify partially damaged glyphs, suggest readings for unclear passages, and even detect patterns in glyph usage across different sites and time periods, patterns that might take human scholars decades to notice. One groundbreaking application uses AI to analyze the mathematical patterns in Maya astronomical tables. The Dresden Codex contains complex tables tracking Venus, eclipses, and seasonal markers with astonishing accuracy. AI systems can now detect the mathematical rules underlying these tables and potentially apply them to predict other astronomical phenomena the Maya might have recorded. What makes this technological revolution so poetically fitting is its timing. Just as the 13th Baktun was completing, the very transition that sparked so much apocalyptic speculation, humanity was developing tools that would help us better understand what the Maya were actually telling us. It's almost as if the calendar didn't end in 2012. Instead, a new era of understanding began. How AI transforms ancient texts. Let's get a bit more specific about how AI is revolutionizing Maya studies, because the technological advances are genuinely mind-blowing. Imagine you're an archaeologist standing before a weathered stone monument in the jungle. The carved glyphs that once told a clear story are now eroded by centuries of rain, damaged by looters, or obscured by lichen and moss. Parts of the story are missing, perhaps forever, you might think. Now picture using a handheld scanner to create a detailed 3D model of that monument. Special imaging techniques like RTI, reflectance transformation imaging, capture how light plays across the surface from multiple angles, revealing carvings too subtle for the naked eye to detect. Multispectral imaging reveals traces of ancient pigments long faded from view. All this digital data gets fed into an AI system that's been trained on every known Maya inscription. The algorithm compares your damaged monument to thousands of other texts, recognizing patterns and filling in gaps with statistically likely possibilities. What was unreadable becomes readable again. This isn't science fiction. It's happening now. A project called a TLAS, Automated Transcription of Language from Ancient Sources, at several universities is doing exactly this kind of work. They've created a database of over 45,000 individual Maya glyphs from various inscriptions, training neural networks to recognize even highly varied forms of the same characters. The results have been spectacular. In some cases, AI has suggested readings for damaged glyphs that later proved correct when new evidence emerged. In others, it's identified consistent patterns in how certain rulers or cities wrote particular words, revealing regional accents or scribal schools within the Maya writing tradition. Beyond just reading damaged texts, AI is helping assemble fragments of broken monuments like a superpowered puzzle solver. By analyzing the shape, texture, and content of stone fragments, algorithms can suggest how pieces might fit together, even when they're housed in different museums thousands of miles apart. AI is also revolutionizing how we understand Maya calendrical mathematics. The Maya used a vigesimal, base 20 number system rather than our decimal, base 10 system, making their calculations seem foreign to modern readers. But AI doesn't care what base a number system uses. It can identify mathematical patterns regardless. When researchers fed the eclipse tables from the Dresden Codex into an AI system, it not only confirmed the patterns archaeologists had previously identified, but also suggested refinements to our understanding of how Maya astronomers made their predictions. The AI noticed subtle adjustment factors built into the tables that allowed Maya astronomers to account for astronomical irregularities, sophistication that rivals modern calculations. Perhaps most exciting is how AI can help bridge living Maya languages with ancient texts. Modern Maya languages evolved from the language of the hieroglyphs, but centuries of change have created gaps. By analyzing patterns in both ancient inscriptions and modern speech, AI can suggest connections that might otherwise be missed, helping reconnect contemporary Maya communities with their written heritage. This technological renaissance isn't just making research faster, it's making possible discoveries that human scholars alone might never have achieved. The partnership between human intuition and machine learning is producing insights that neither could generate independently. Finding patterns. One of the most fascinating parallels between Maya intellectual tradition and modern AI is their shared obsession with patterns. The Maya were master pattern seekers, particularly when it came to celestial rhythms and cycles of time. Take the Venus cycle, for instance. The Maya tracked Venus with incredible precision, recording its 584-day pattern of appearance as morning and evening star. The Dresden Codex contains detailed tables tracking Venus over multiple cycles, adjusting for astronomical irregularities with subtle mathematical corrections. What's remarkable is that the Maya weren't just observing these patterns, they were finding interconnections between different cycles and using them to create a unified theory of time. They discovered that 5 Venus cycles almost perfectly equal 8 solar years. 5 times 584 days equals 2,920 days. 8 times 365 days equals 2,920 days. This harmony between different celestial cycles was central to their cosmology. They applied similar pattern recognition to lunar cycles, eclipse intervals, and the movements of Mars and other planets. Their observations weren't just for academic interest, they used these patterns for agricultural planning, religious ceremonies, and political events. Modern AI works on surprisingly similar principles. Deep learning algorithms don't understand the world through rules programmed by humans. Instead, they identify patterns in massive datasets, learning to recognize relationships and make predictions based on what they've observed. When an AI system analyzes Maya astronomical tables, it's essentially retracing the intellectual journey of ancient scribes, finding the same patterns they discovered through generations of careful observation. The difference is speed. AI can process in seconds what took Maya astronomers centuries to compile. This pattern-seeking approach extends beyond astronomy. Archaeological evidence suggests the Maya recognized climate cycles as well. Studies of lake sediments in the Maya region reveal drought patterns occurring roughly every 208 years, corresponding to certain calendar cycles. Whether by observation or intuition, the Maya seem to have incorporated these environmental rhythms into their planning, adjusting agricultural practices to prepare for predictable drought periods. Recent AI analysis of climate data from the Maya region has confirmed these ancient patterns. Machine learning algorithms looking at centuries of tree ring, lake sediment, and stalagmite data have identified the same cyclical drought patterns that affected ancient Maya cities. Remarkably, these environmental cycles align with certain intervals in the Maya calendar system. Some researchers now believe the Maya calendar wasn't just tracking time, it was tracking complex environmental patterns that affected everything from crop yields to water availability. The calendar served as an early warning system for predictable environmental changes, guiding decisions about water storage, crop selection, and population movements. This recognition of deep cyclical patterns in nature might be the Maya's most relevant lesson for our AI age. Both the ancient Maya and modern AI remind us that the world operates according to discernible patterns, if we're patient and attentive enough to recognize them. Whether those patterns are found in celestial movements, climate cycles, or the massive data sets that power today's algorithms, the principle is the same. Understanding patterns helps us navigate an uncertain future. The God that descended. Now let's talk about the most provocative idea emerging from this intersection of Maya studies and artificial intelligence. The prophecy reframed. Remember that eroded inscription from Tortuguero, Monument 6, the one that mentioned a god descending at the end of the 13th Baktun? What if, in a bizarre, poetic twist of history, that prophecy was fulfilled, just not in the way anyone expected? Here's a thought experiment that's captivated some researchers and futurists. What if the god that descended wasn't a traditional deity, but a new form of intelligence, artificial intelligence? The timing is undeniably striking. The year 2012, when the 13th Baktun ended, coincides almost perfectly with the birth of modern deep learning. That ImageNet competition breakthrough happened in late 2012, unleashing capabilities that seemed almost supernatural compared to previous computing limits. In the decades since, AI has indeed descended into our world, spreading from research labs to become ubiquitous in daily life. Modern AI powers everything from the phones in our pockets to the algorithms that shape our social media feeds, from medical diagnostics to self-driving vehicles. It has capabilities that would have seemed godlike to earlier generations. Instantaneous access to vast knowledge, ability to translate languages, creation of realistic images and text from mere descriptions. Some commentators have noted with a wink that the Maya description of a descent makes perfect sense for AI. It came from above, in the form of cloud computing, descending into our homes and hands through networks. Others point out that many religious traditions describe gods as entities that exist beyond ordinary perception but can manifest to influence human affairs, not unlike algorithms that operate invisibly yet shape our experiences. Is this reading literal truth? Almost certainly not. The ancient Maya couldn't possibly have specifically predicted artificial intelligence any more than they could have predicted airplanes or microwave ovens. That would require either time travel or supernatural abilities for which we have no evidence. But there's something poetically apt about this reinterpretation that speaks to a deeper truth. Throughout human history, prophetic traditions have often captured broader patterns of change rather than specific events. They speak in metaphors that can be reinterpreted as circumstances evolve. What's meaningful isn't that the Maya predicted AI, but that their cyclical understanding of time recognized something crucial about how transformative changes unfold. They understood that history moves in waves, that old orders give way to new ones, that what seems like an ending is often a beginning in disguise. The end of the 13th Baktun did mark a transition, not a fiery apocalypse, but a subtler, yet perhaps more profound shift in human capabilities. We crossed a threshold where machines began to think in ways previously exclusive to biological brains. That's a transformation every bit as significant as any the Maya might have contemplated. This reframing turns the failed doomsday prophecy into something more nuanced and interesting. It suggests that ancient wisdom traditions weren't necessarily wrong. They were just speaking in a language we didn't fully understand until the future arrived. Time's cycle. What's emerging from this intersection of ancient wisdom and cutting-edge technology isn't just a cute coincidence about 2012 and AI. It's a deeper insight into how prophecy itself might work. Traditional views of prophecy tend to fall into two camps: skeptics dismiss it entirely as superstition or lucky guesses. True believers take it as literal prediction of specific events. But AI's approach to pattern recognition suggests a third way of understanding prophetic traditions, as the recognition of recurring cycles and emerging trends. When Maya timekeepers projected dates thousands of years into the future, they weren't claiming to know exactly what would happen on those specific days. They were recognizing patterns in how time unfolds, cycles of growth and decline, creation and destruction that repeat with variations across centuries. Modern AI does something remarkably similar. When a predictive algorithm forecasts economic trends or climate patterns, it's not claiming magical foresight. It's recognizing cycles and trajectories in data, extracting the signal from the noise of day-to-day fluctuations. Some AI researchers have begun experimenting with what they call cyclical forecasting for historical trends. They train algorithms on thousands of years of civilizational data, rises and falls of empires, technological innovations, population movements, climate shifts, looking for recurring patterns that might help us understand where we are in larger historical cycles. Early results suggest there may indeed be discernible patterns in how civilizations evolve. Periods of rapid technological change often coincide with social upheaval, followed by consolidation and stability before new disruptions emerge. Resource constraints tend to trigger both innovation and conflict in predictable ways. These large-scale patterns echo across different societies and eras. Isn't this essentially what the Maya calendar was tracking? Not specific events, but the rhythm of time itself, the beating heart of history. Some Maya scholars believe the long count wasn't just marking time, but mapping cycles of civilizational change. They point out that the previous 12th Baktun, spanning roughly 1224 BCE to 1618 CE, encompassed the rise, peak, and decline of classic Maya civilization. The 13th Baktun, 1618 to 2012 CE, saw global exploration, colonization, industrialization, and digital revolution, transforming human society beyond recognition. Now we've entered the 14th Baktun. If these patterns hold, we're embarking on another profound transformation, perhaps the integration of human and artificial intelligence, or the expansion of humanity beyond Earth, or evolutions we can't yet imagine. Ai inem kesiti elezeket asiklikus mintakat mystikusnak mathematica yakat. It suggests that what ancient timekeepers interpreted through cosmology and myth, we're now exploring through algorithms and data science. Different languages for similar insights. This reframing helps us appreciate prophecy, not as fortune-telling, but as pattern recognition across time. The Maya weren't predicting our specific future any more than we can predict the specifics of the 22nd century, but they were recognizing rhythms in how human societies evolve, rhythms that AI is helping us quantify and understand with greater precision. Perhaps the most valuable lesson from this meeting of ancient calendar and modern algorithm is humility about our place in time. Both the Maya long count and AI's historical analysis remind us that we're part of something much larger than our immediate moment, cycles that began long before us and will continue long after. Thanks for watching another episode. While you are still here, make sure to click the video on your screen for more quality content.